Ha! Guess he's got nobody else to get pissed with. Finley never liked drinking alone with him. Titan tends to get into one of his moods. And? What? That's all? You're bothering me just because that old rascal is sitting alone in the inn with nobody to natter to. You people, bugger off.
Buying anything?
Beer from Kunacht, wine from Farshire, moonshine, only local, the best there is. And fish, lots and lots of fish. What's your poison? You mean the old pier? Well, first of all, it's not that old. Brennan was already the captain when it was built. Why is it called that? Don't know. Probably because of all those old folks around. A lot has been happening here lately. Plenty of new faces. I definitely can't complain. I'm finally running a proper tavern. People come and go and the regulars drink as usual, as it should be. Daddy will be proud. Hey, not here, obviously. You won't see your old man here unless your name's Dara. Mine sent me here because he hoped I'd make something out of my life. He never wanted me to pour a beer and look at the same tired mugs day in, day out, but as it turns out, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I got mauled by a werebeast during a hunt, and after that, the captain decided I wasn't any good for active service, so he sent me here. I was bored out of my mind, and since there wasn't one here, I decided to start a tavern. At least I'm not as bored anymore.
Hello, child. You look competent enough. I can see that you're not of noble blood. Oh, no need to tell me that. I have tutored the children of aristocrats from all over Avalon. Fortunately for you, my opinion of them is not particularly high. Oh, and you don't look like one of the locals. Are you a visitor? Or an adventurer? You can talk. Now, I'm sure we'll get along. My name is Lady Elaine. I oversee the Farshire Library, the greatest collection of books in this part of Avalon. By the All-Mother, don't tell me you don't know what Farshire is. The largest duchy in the middle of the island, with the wise Lady Kincaid in power, who has a hold over the entire territory. Nothing? Oh, really? I know, child. I know. Everyone was surprised. Camelot turned up their noses at this for years. But after Lord Kincaid died and Aidan, Lady Kincaid's son, disappeared, the nobles of Farshire decided she could stay on the throne. Even if Aidan had been alive, she would still be ruling as a regent until he came of age. But between you and me, he wasn't a very bright boy. So she would have been ruling until her death anyway. Oh, we're lucky to have her. Difficult times require determined leaders. Worse than ever. Oh, the wordness is thickening, and the roads are getting dangerous and unpredictable. That's why I'm here, wandering Avalon looking for solutions. If I don't do this, who will, hmm? You're probably wondering what a feeble old lady who can't even lift a sword could possibly accomplish. But King Arthur didn't conquer Avalon just because he couldn't swing a blade. No, he had knowledge, and enough wisdom to know how to use it. Lady Kincaid wasn't happy when she found out about this idea. But all mother's mercy, I am her tutor. She cannot dictate what I do, no matter her standing. Oh, do you mean a family? Oh, I've never had time for such trifles. No suitor was ever more interesting than a good book, nor did any of them smell better either. And I've raised enough of other people's children to never wish for my own. Oh, surprising. I'm looking for someone who will help me find a certain artifact. So, are you interested, child? I came to the Horns of the South because I found a fascinating book. It referred to a certain object, a figure most likely, which has the ability to dispel the wordness like a menhir can. Apparently, it can be found on the ship called Andraste, which sank over 100 years ago somewhere in this area. However, when I asked those nincompoops about it, they just laughed at me. They said that the Andraste wasn't carrying anything of value, and even if it was, they wouldn't freeze their butts off in those chilly waters. The Last Voyage of the Andraste by Elvis the Lightkeeper. He was one of the more notable keepers. In his waning years, he became an adjutant to Captain Lex. But it's best if you read it yourself. You can read, can't you? But just be very careful. This is a very rare publication. Read it very carefully, and after you're done, come to me, and I'll tell you more. A deal? Summarize? Oh, my dear child. Oh, do you really think you'd be handed everything on a silver platter? You're not as vain and conceited as certain ladies from House Macaulay, are you? You should be grateful you can learn history from eyewitness accounts. No, I'm not going to summarize the last voyage of Andraste for you, and don't ask me again, unless you want to make me very angry. Ah, and they say young people don't want to learn anything. Come on, chop, 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 get to reading. And? Have you read The Last Voyage of the Andraste? Oh, splendid, splendid. Oh, it's an excellent book, don't you think? Now, let's test your reading comprehension. According to Elvis the Lightkeeper, in the mine near the Horns of the South, they found something that they took with them on the ship. Do you remember what that was, child? And you're telling me you've read it? By the All-Mother, it's like dealing. Come back when you've done more. Have you read the book? Good. That's right. This is the artifact I'm looking for. One that might be vital to repelling the wordness. According to Elvis's description, the figure is smaller than a menhir, and light enough that they were able to carry it to the ship without any trouble. Were it small, it would probably have been placed in Captain Lex's quarters instead of in the hold. I've estimated it should be about 1 meter tall. Good. Next question. What was the Andraste's destination? And your... Have you read? Good. That's right. Good. What? Correct. Be very careful with what I'm about to tell you. But some believe that the Red Priests are dedicated to studying the wordness instead of the Red Death. Captain Lex must have thought they'd pay him generously for a Four-Dweller artifact. Last question. What sank the Andraste? Yes, you did well, child. I can see that you were paying attention. According to Elvis, the Andraste was sunk by the legendary terror from the deep. But if you want to know more, ask your keeper friends. They should be much better informed. Now, all you need to do is find the wreck of the Andraste and retrieve the mysterious figure. Oh, if only I knew. It must have happened somewhere on the way between the Horns of the South and the Island Asylum. Oh, but where exactly? Fortunately, I know something that could help us. In the Horns of the South Museum, there are some extremely interesting books and documents lying around and collecting dust. Can you imagine having such treasures at hand and choosing to completely ignore them? Oh, barbarians. Among them, you'll find the Andraste's logbook, which was saved by Elvis. I've read it, of course, but I know nothing about sailing. I'm sure such a competent child as yourself will handle it much better. Go to the Horns of the South Museum, read the logbook, and then tell me whether you managed to locate the wreck of the Andraste.
We're in the middle of something. Come back when we're done. If you're still breathing.
It's no secret. He's just an old, bitter man who hates the entire world. And I'm a part of it, so, well, it is what it is. That's all. He told that tale about the tunnels more times than I can count. To anyone who'll listen. But these days, it seems nobody does anymore. I've heard it plenty of times already, believe me. To him, those old friends of his were everything. They meant more than his own son, that's for sure. He'd go on and on about it. If I'd been there, if I'd gone with him, he won't let it go. Sometimes I think that if Fergus had let him go into those tunnels and meet the same end as his brothers, he might have found his peace. Or at least quit drinking. See you around.
Oh, a new face. It's always nice to see someone new here. Welcome, welcome. Why didn't I notice you earlier? Yes, my apologies. Ever since breakfast today, I've been sort of lost in thought. I keep thinking of my dear mother's cooking, especially her famous pie. You see, all we got here is venison and fish. Venison, then fish. And then fish, fish, and more fish. I could live with all the bullshit that's thrown at us soldiers. But the longer I live, the more I realize there's not much to live for, except food. And I'd kill for a slice of that pie. As if it were that easy. I ain't much of a cook. And Rorik, the one we have here, well, he says we're soldiers, so we can stick our complaints up our asses. Really? Sure, I remember it well. Here you go. Yes. Still tastes like shit. Exactly how my mother would make it. It's just what I needed. Oh, don't get me wrong. I really appreciate what you did for me. It's just that every time I doubt my service in the Horns of the South, I need a reminder of why I enlisted. My mother wasn't much of anything, to tell the truth. She always said I was good for nothing and that I should be glad she even kept me. And every day she'd bring back home a new uncle. Many of those uncles like to kick me out of my own house when they were drinking and getting busy. Then, when she'd sober up and got rid of an uncle, she'd bake me that pie as an apology. It always tasted like shit. If the other villagers hadn't been feeding me, I would have starved to death. Hence the pie. I wouldn't know. When I left my village, I decided to never look back. So I just assumed one of those uncles finally beat her to death.
All mother's tits. I've just about had it with this bunch of repressed virgins. And who might you be? You don't look like one of them. Oh, do I now? You would be too if you had to deal with those sniveling morons when they're up to something. Don't look at me like that. You don't get as far in life as I have if you can't smell bullshit from a mile away. There's something fishy going on here. But I'll get to the bottom of it. And here's a brilliant idea. You're going to help me. Straight to the point, huh? Don't worry, I'll pay you. And who knows, you might even get a discount on my wares. I just need you to go to Brandon and find out why that slime ball is pretending not to know I'm here. Tell him I'm waiting with his delivery. Although I'm pretty sure he knows this already. You don't know? He's the captain of this entire circus. I thought since they let you in, you must have an in with him. But it turns out you know even less than I do. There's something going on, you know? They don't want anybody to know, but I can feel it. I've been doing business with the captain for years now. Then suddenly I found myself stuck here. They won't let me further in, not even to set up camp in the village. But they won't let me out, either. Anyway, good luck to you. Come and visit if you need anything. Name's Orla. I'm a merchant. Or I try to be, when my business isn't being held hostage by a bunch of idiots who seem to be terrified of women. What was I thinking when I decided to leave Timberwall? Should have stayed there. You've never been to the merchant capital? Well, you didn't miss much. Yes, it's rich and extravagant, but only if you're rich and extravagant, too. Other than that, it's a place like any other. The same pain and misery hiding behind gilded walls. It's not as exciting as people think. Or, well, maybe it is if you like living with a bunch of backstabbing crooks. Yeah, now I remember what I was thinking when I left that place. Not really. It's more of a requirement if you ever want to be successful in Timberwall. My family is full of them. I have no home in Timberwall. Well, we have an estate, but it hasn't felt like home for a long time. I feel like every time I go back, I recognize it less and less. The people are getting greedier and more desperate by the day. Business is slow, I'm not gonna lie. With the weirdness creeping in from the north and bandits everywhere, trade's just not as profitable as it used to be. But, I don't know. Being a merchant from Timberwall used to mean craftiness, taking risks, looking for opportunities. Now, they only care about keeping their heads down and preserving their fortunes. Oh, love, plenty. And almost none of them happy. I'll never forget the first time we stumbled upon a place after a cloud of the weirdness oozed through. It was a small settlement, just a few houses. There was this odd, bitter taste in the air. The place was completely abandoned. Or so we thought. Until we started finding them, one by one. A man who tried to chop off his legs after they started sprouting antlers. Another one who gouged his eyes out, so he wouldn't have to look at his child melting into the floor. A woman in the farthest corner of the settlement managed to stab herself in the heart before it got to her. I almost dropped it all and ran back to Timberwall that day. I'm still not sure why I didn't. I guess giving up just isn't in my nature. You do realize you won't score any points with the Keepers by helping me, right? Those holier-than-thou soldier boys have no idea what it takes to be a merchant in this sorry world. The things we have to do sometimes aren't exactly done according to the rulebook. All right. A woman named Nest has my cargo and I need it back. I don't know where she is, but starting the search near the Arkspire seems like a good idea. And yes, you'll get paid. Just bring me the wares.
Blessings upon you, stranger. May the word always resonate within your soul. What do you mean, my child? Indeed, my child. I have served in the Horns of the South since I turned 20. So, it's now my 40th year in the service of Kai and this noble abode. As for the asylum, I only know as much as my brothers deem necessary to relay to me in their letters. I only receive reports on their progress towards curing the Red Death. I'm afraid that I simply cannot believe your blasphemous words without proof. So it's your word against the word. Let's leave it at that. It's a sickness, a corruption, but also a mystery. Many of my brothers would call it a curse, a stain upon Avalon that must be purged. And yet, I wonder, did Kai not teach us that all things have a purpose? That even suffering carries wisdom? The weirdness twists and warps, yes. It consumes and it takes. But it also gives. Life grows in its wake. Strange and terrible, but life all the same. If we are to fight it, we must first understand it. And that is what frightens the Church most of all. Understanding. As prepared as any men can be against something they barely understand. Swords and fire will hold back beasts. But what of the creeping rot that twists flesh and mind alike? But there is one thing. The Excalibur they keep here. It has not been wielded in an age, yet the weird does not creep near it. Well, even as it rests upon its pedestal, the air around it remains untouched. The tendrils of corruption that strangle stone and steel refuse to claim it. The Keepers may not see it for what it is, but I do. There is power in that blade. Something ancient, something beyond the Church's teachings. And if it truly holds back the weirdness, then perhaps it was never meant for men alone. Safe? No. But safer than most, I suppose. But tell me, what is safety, truly? A stronghold? A weapon? A prayer? I've seen men with all three fall just the same. So no, I do not feel safe. But I do feel watched. And sometimes that is enough. Certainly. Kai's blessings know no bounds, but sometimes it's useful to seal them in a handy flask. May Kai's word always guide you. In the word, you will find solace.
You're back. Did you bring my goods?
What do you want? Watch yourself.
Creeping around like that will only get you more attention. Didn't expect to see you. Ah, that's you. Do you need something? You did? I thought I heard some hammering. Oh, well, thank you for that. Truly. One less thing to worry about, right? Here, I put aside some money from my budget. You've earned it. And you have my gratitude. I'd ask you to fix the refugee barracks, but, well, there's no budget for making people's lives slightly less miserable. We'd have to do with something less spectacular. There are two places around here that could use some fixing up. First, there's the old gate. It used to be a proud marker for our territory. But now it's more of a sorry welcome sign. Then there's the monument to the sea creature. It's been weathered down by the salty breeze, and honestly, it's starting to look less monumental and more pathetic. If you could restore them, it would do wonders for morale, and maybe even impress Fergus. What do you say? Ah, that's the spirit. I knew I could count on you. Once those are back in shape, this place might start looking like it's cared for again. Ah, it's you. No, not really. See you around.
a wanderer in the sunken village. You must be lost. Back in the day, you just needed to look at the stars and you'd know where you were going. Now, even they are misplaced. Island Asylum? I don't remember being there, not clearly. But when I look at your face, something stirs. Yes, I'm sure we've crossed paths before. And look at you now, out in the world, breathing the fresh air. That's something to treasure, my friend. Freedom is a gift, even when it feels heavy. Enjoy it. The sunken village was not always sunken, but one day someone, undoubtedly important, made a decision, undoubtedly necessary, that it would be better to make it so. So the wave came and made the village into the sunken village. And its inhabitants, well, you can see for yourself. You'd have to ask those responsible for the flood. Who knows what's going through people's heads? Maybe someone ordered them to do it. We'll never know. I know that some druids did it. Specific individuals, although their names have long been forgotten. This is no great mystery, my friend. That's a good question. Maybe they burnt during the Charred Conclave. Maybe not. Nevertheless, the punishment was delivered and justice prevailed. Once again, the world was made a better place. At least that's what those who set fire to the stakes preach. All in the name of the Word. Among others, this wouldn't have happened if not for Camelot's desperation. Hey, many tragic decisions were made. I don't know if the word was so unambiguous or if its interpretation failed. What happened on the fields of the Charred Conclave wasn't just about the flood, my friend. It was about things and forces we don't understand. Long ago enough for people to have no chance of discovering why it happened, and yet recently enough that this place still reminds us of it. Now the village is what it is, and the past has washed away. At least it can still be home for them. And I'll stay and look. These are interesting times indeed. I guess I'm just an old man listening to the sound of the sea. Every wave carries a story, you know. Some are whispers, others are roars. I like to think they're keeping me company. Long ago, I decided to wait for something to happen. So I'm waiting. For what's ahead of me. But I can feel that it's closer than ever. Everything that's around us, it's not yet the end. And that thought really bothers me. Monsters? I think you misunderstand. I don't see any monsters here, only lost villagers, still clinging to their home. It's sad, but as you can see, not much depends on us. The world just keeps on happening. And you happen along with it. They were given some time which they've tried to use as much as they could. That's all. I'm glad they allow me to stay here despite what happened. I like this place. It's the cycle of life. There's nothing to be afraid of. If you're afraid, it means you're struggling with something too much, my friend. Sometimes you just need to sit and look. Watch everything turn. I have everything I need. The entire world in one place. Before you go, I would like to ask you one thing. Who are you? I understand. I see you. I hear you. And I have a feeling that you will find what you're looking for. Farewell, and thank you for visiting me, my friend. You can come keep me company whenever you want. The sunsets here are beautiful.
Perhaps. I cannot say for certain. My memory remains too clouded. It seems familiar. I do not feel my soul bound to it, but I know our path shall lead us here, one way or another. Something lingers beyond this gate, something ancient. That much I know. We'll find the truth soon enough.
like a worldly, well-travelled person. I'm not wrong, am I? Of course I'm not. Tell me, would you be interested in some incredibly rare, mysterious and precious items? Then let me introduce you to a one-of-a-kind collection of Arthurian relics. I assure you, you won't see anything like this anywhere else on Avalon. Here's an authentic Four-Dweller's tooth. And look, a bone from Sir Galahad's little finger. And over here, a fragment of a foot wrap worn by King Arthur himself, along with many other riches. That is an excellent question. When it comes to relics, authenticity is key. However, I assure you that I possess documents with the appropriate signature and seals, proving that all of these relics and the stories behind them are absolutely true.